Hey everybody, welcome back for another installment of getting your SB100 here in California. My last video, you can see when I left the DMV, I've still got a couple things I have to do. I have to go to the CHP and get my VIN verified, so I have my 124 form that the DMV gave me. I just need to make an appointment with the CHP to get that done. And then I started looking into the whole brake and light inspection, which is kind of took an interesting twist. So first of all, your brake and light inspection has to be done by a licensed inspector who's been licensed by California, more specifically BAR. BAR is the Bureau of Automotive Repair. That's a governing body here in California. In order for you to find a shop with a certified inspector, you can go to BAR, B-A-R, .ca.gov. On the right-hand or left-hand side of the page, you will see some links, and you're going to see a link for a vehicle safety systems inspection. You want to highlight that one, and then you can put your zip code in, and shops will come up, or you can search by a map, and it will list you all the licensed shops that are able to perform this inspection. Another thing, while it's referred to as a brake and light inspection, it is no more just simply, how's your brakes looking? Somebody takes a look at it. You got blinkers. Yeah. In fact, here's the manual that I have downloaded. It is 45 pages that would take you through every inspection point. The challenge is going to be, how does this document is going to be applied to your vehicle? To me, this document is, if you have a modern car with, say, and it was totaled and you want to get it back on the road, and maybe your insurance company says, hey, you got to go through a vehicle inspection, a safety inspection, because in here they talk about child restraints, they talk about automatic, warning lights, they talk about I'm trying to think of some of the others, OBD2. Well, your kit car, like mine, is not going to have any of that. So the trick is to find a inspector who knows how to interpret this document and how do they apply it to your particular situation. When I went to the BAR website, I put my zip code in, and there were 4 shops that were relatively close. I figured I'd go there, and I encourage you guys to really do this. Take the time, go there ahead of time, talk to them, because the answers you're going to get are going to be so varied, and you really want to make the right decision. I went to 4 shops. One shop was as high as $800, and they said it would take approximately 8 to 9 hours. You had to do by appointment. One of the other shops said it was $175, not a problem. But when I asked specific questions, have you ever done this for a kit car? A lot of them said no. And so I brought up the point of, hey, my car is going to be a 64. That's what I'm getting is a replica of. It's a 64 Cheetah. Side markers were not mandatory by the federal government until 1968. Yet, if you look in one of the pages in here, it tells you that you have to have all these side markers and side lights. So my question to all of these was, how are you going to interpret this when I'm trying to get the car certified as a 1964? None of them can give me the answer. A lot of them said, oh, I'm going to have to call BAR on Monday and I'll get back to you. A couple of them had no clue what I was even talking about. So I kind of whittled it down to about 2 guys who said, oh yeah, they've done that. We've taken a Cobra kit car, taken it through the whole process. So I felt a little bit better about that guy. There was another one that says, oh, we've done a bunch of these. No problem. We know what to apply to your car and what not to apply to your car. So do your homework. Go talk to some places you're thinking about doing it, because if you go there and somebody has no idea, they're going to fail you for not having an OBD or airbags in your car. You don't know what you're going to get. So take a look at it. Try to find somebody who's enthusiastic about your car to begin with. And more importantly, so that they understand, hey, I'm bringing this car in. It's a specially constructed vehicle. It is a, quote, kit car, but it is, in my case, a 1964. So how do you apply the requirements of a car that was made in 1964 and how do you apply the requirements out of this document. So you really want to be careful about that. Once I get my, quote, brake and light inspection, or my VSS, as you'll hear it called, and I'm going to make an appointment for the CHP. Once I get that, I can go back to the DMV, and she gave me a slip that kind of gets me to the front of the line, and she will then call Sacramento and give me my sequential number. That is your exempt number, your small exempt number. Now, I'm not done yet after I get those two. Once I go to the DMV, after I get my inspections done, and they will issue me a sequence number associated with my VIN number. It's not until after that point that they will then contact BAR again, and I will have to go to a smog referee. So, smog referee is going to take a look at my engine. He's going to take a look at what year it is, and he's going to say, hey, what pollution control equipment is supposed to come out of that engine? I'm hoping that's all they're going to do. So, this is another thing I think I brought up before. Be careful about, if you have your VIN for your engine block, make sure you take a picture of it, or you write it down before you do any machining work, and here's why. Mine is, if you look at the casting number, my block, which is a 327, was made between 1962 and used between 1965. Again, why that's important is, if I don't have a VIN, the referee is not going to be able to tell you, or be able to tell exactly what year that engine is going to be used in. Now, 1962 to 1965 is not a problem because there's no smog other than a PCV valve on it. However, if you had an engine block that was between, say, 1965 and 1969, here in California, and if you don't have a VIN number that specifically tells you what year that engine was used, he may say, I don't have any documentation. I'm going to say it's a 1969. Where that's going to get you is that, in I believe it's 1968, that you had to have a smog pump here in California. So without knowing the exact VIN number, the referee may say, oh, it's the latest model. So you may get your car, you may know it came out of a 66 or 68 or 67, but if it's a year that a smog pump is required, he could say, you know what, you can't show me the VIN number, you can't have any documentation or what this came out of, I'm going to say it's the latest model, and therefore you may have to get a smog pump. So again, be really careful about that. To tell you the truth, I didn't do that. I should have taken, when they decked my engine, the serial number that was stamped in the little ear on the top was gone. So I don't have any verification of the actual VIN of what that was. So, but again, in my case, it's a 62 to 65. All that's required on mine is a PCV valve. Okay, so I'll keep going on. I'll keep you up to date is the whole process. I'm going to go ahead and try to make an appointment for the CHP, my VIN verification. This was the other thing too. When I went and talked to the shops to do my, quote, brake and light, or my VSS inspection system, they wanted me to make sure I went to get my VIN verified first. And my guess is because when they fill out the paperwork, they have to put the VIN on as well. So they would probably prefer to have it verified, have the Form 124 completed before going to them. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and email the CHP here in California, in Valencia. That's when I'm going to go to and see if I can get an appointment. And hopefully that should be a quick process, because the VIN tag has already been, Cheat Evolution creates their own VIN. They riveted it to the firewall. So it should be strictly a matter of taking a look at that VIN number, looking at all my paperwork, make sure everything lines up, and just go ahead and filling out that 124 form. And then I'll go to brake and light and get that done. And that will be one step closer. Okay, thanks.